Today we will actually go ahead and build or start building this application that we see here. Again, we had a preview video before this. Basically, the preview video spoke about what we will be building during this video series. As you can see, we have an app here. If I click on this button, the bottom sheet comes up. I could interact with the bottom sheet. I could change the image, and the image renders into this like parent view. Okay, so without further ado, let me just minimize the simulator here. So we will create a new project. So Xcode new project. And the app we'll be creating is just a basic app here. So click on app, make sure you have iOS selected, app, click next. And we will call our project bottom sheet here, and SwiftUI, right? We have storyboard, which is UI kit, but we choose SwiftUI, and our language is Swift. Okay, so far so good. Let's continue. So now we'll press next. And where do we want to save our project? Well, you save your project in any folder you want. Here I have a projects folder. I will create my project. And now I have my basic project opening up. And here we have our SwiftUI view. Okay. Let me make this a bit smaller here. We do not need this pane. Let me just close this. We do not need this pane here. Close this. Okay, cool. Awesome. So here we have the basic boilerplate SwiftUI code that we do get with like a basic app. As you could see, it says hello world. And if you're new to SwiftUI, you could start playing around with just editing this text value. Now you see hello, and we have an image. And both of those elements are in a V stack or vertical stack. So you could see the image is above the text here, and there's some padding. Okay. So let's go ahead and our simulator. No problem there. Let's get the simulator. Okay. So basically what we'll be building is we will build a header first, and we will have this image, and this is going to be like the first part of the video. I want to keep those videos short. So basically we'll be building the header with the image, the text, and this button here, the chevron button, and all that is in an H stack. Okay. So this is basically our goal. Let me just keep the simulator here so we know where we headed. Okay. All right. The first thing we will do is get rid of this boilerplate code here. Okay. And we will create an H stack. Okay. In that H stack, what do we want? Well, we want an image. For now, I'll just use a system image. And I'll just say person. And here we see a person. Now, there's also person.circle, where we have person.circle. If you're wondering where I'm getting those names from, this is basically SF symbols. So if you search SF symbols here, this is the SF symbols. So if I search for example person, I'll get person, different images. And here we have person.circle, okay? So for now, we'll just use person.circle, and then we'll drag in an image asset at some point, okay? So here we have our image. Next, what do we want? We want the text. For now, we hard code in those values, but as you could see, we don't want to hard code all those values because we could have any sort of like array or collection coming in. But for now, we'll hard code the values. So we have image. Next, we want the text. So we'll have some text here, which expects the string. So for now, I will just say Mario, for example. And here we have Mario. Okay, so far so good. Next, we'll have this chevron circle. Again, we will create an image, system name, and it's a chevron dot circle, I think. But we will double check here. Let's go back to our SF symbols and search for chevron. And we are looking for the chevron down. Okay, so there we go. So it's not chevron circle, but the position. So chevron dot down dot circle. So chevron dot down dot circle. Okay, cool. So we have our H stack. Again, it's a horizontal stack, so it's aligned horizontally. So here we have our first image, which is going to correspond to this image here. We have our text, which is going to correspond to this text here. And we have our chevron button, which when we click it, we will get the bottom sheet, okay? Cool. So let's keep going. What do we want? Let's create some sort of, let's see, have like a background color for now. And we'll just say color.red. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so we have some red color. We'll change that color again, but we just want to see where our H stack lives in space here. All right, so what else do we want to do? We want to create some sort of pattern. So here, I will say, let's see what sort of pattern we want on this. What sort of pattern do we want here? Well, for now, let's just create padding with the default padding. Let's see what that looks like. Again, SwiftUI, it depends on the positioning. We probably want to put the padding right before the background. And we have our padding here, okay? Next, we want to create some spacing. Let's actually make the horizontal stack take the entire span horizontally. So we'll say max width, and we will do infinity. Okay, so right now it stretches from left to right, takes the entire width of the screen. Okay, so far so good here. Now we'll put this H stack in a parent view. So I'll just go ahead and put this H stack here in a V stack. So we have more control. So in that V stack, what we will do, we will give the V stack itself some sort of padding and horizontal, and we'll say 20 points. Okay, so this is what we have right now. Next, we want to add some sort of corner radius. Again, we have some sort of corner radius here. So we'll add some corner radius. Let's start off with 12, see what that looks like. Okay, that's fine. We could play with those numbers and see how it renders. Okay. Next we have, so as we could see, this is somewhat left aligned here. And our chevron button is like right aligned, right? So what we'll do, we'll add in some spacing. So right after our text, I'll add in a spacer. Okay. So as we could see, the spacer basically pushes our image and our text with Mario all the way to the left here. Okay, so it's starting to look like what our header is here. We could always add more padding where places we want to and such and such. Or here we could increase our default padding. Like if you do 40, what does that look like? Looks bigger. If you do 30, what does that look like? Okay. We'll keep it at 30 for now, and we'll change it as we need to. Okay, so let's go ahead and get an actual image, and let us change this color to some sort of gray color. Now we have a gray available to us here, which is gray, which is fine. We could do a lighter gray. We could say color, UI color, and we could use a system color like gray 5 and see what that looks like. Very similar to here. You could change those scales you want or any sort of color that you prefer. Okay, so we need an image. So let's go ahead and get an image in here. So in my assets right now, I have no image. So you could basically find any sort of image you want. Right now, I'll drag in both those images. I have a Swift image and I have a SwiftUI image. I'll drag both those images in and pay attention to the naming because the naming is very important when we want to get our images rendered correctly, the correct image. So we'll go after the Swift image for now. Again, you could use any image you need. I'll go back to my content view, which is where we are coding currently. Let's SwiftUI render here. Okay, so back in our image with the system name, we will change this image to the one we just added in the assets. Again, the name should be exactly as the name that you added. All right, so what's happening here? Well, by default, the image will take the entire space, right, of the content. So here we want to kind of resize this image. So we'll add in this modifier, resizable. And as you can see, it's kind of stretched out. That's not what we want. So we'll also go ahead and change the aspect ratio of the image to say fit. Okay. Again, we still probably want to scale this image or size this image smaller because as you can see here, we have a rounded image. So we will change the frame and we'll say width is, let's start off with 40, see what that looks like. All right, that's fine. And then we want to make it circular. So here I will say corner radius and half of 40 is 20. So we get into the diameter of it. Now we have a circle, okay? And we could increase this to say, now this is fine for now. We could update how we need to. Let me actually add the height as well here. Okay, that's fine. We don't need that because the image renders as a circle. We just need the width. Next, we need to have this extra image at the bottom here. But first, let's go ahead and change the size of our chevron button as well. Very similar to what we did above. We will say, actually, let me just grab this code here. Again, we could add like an extra modifier to not duplicate code here, but for now, we'll just copy, paste the code. And the image, this looks a bit bigger. We probably want it a bit smaller. So we'll change this to say 30. What does that look like? That looks okay. Next, we want this image here. I'll use the same Swift image I have. So far, we have a VStack that renders our header. Right below our VStack, I will add in, how we're doing here. So we have our VStack here. I'll put this in another VStack. And then right below, right below our image header, I'll add in an image and we're using the same Swift image. Again, we want to resize this because it's taking up the entire screen because it's a big image. And we want to go ahead and change the aspect ratio on it, say fit. Okay, okay, that looks fine. We could add some padding between the header and this image. So here we have horizontal padding, which is 20 on either side. We could say bottom, we could say padding, we could say bottom, and we could say, let's see what 40 looks like. Okay, not bad. So the whole point of this is whatever image we select in our bottom sheet here will also render in the header and also the bigger image, the larger image here, okay? So again, we hard coding those values for now, but in the upcoming videos, we will refactor this such that it's an object, and whatever object you pass in, it has the image and so on and so forth, okay? Let's keep going. So we're getting close. When you tap here, there's an action. So far, that's the only point of interaction is when you click on this particular chevron. So we will add a tappable region on our chevron. So our chevron is here. The great thing about views in SwiftUI, you could add any sort of tappable, very similar to like UIKit, but UIKit has more steps. Like you have to add like a gesture recognizer and so on and so forth. But with the image, I could add in this modifier on it that says on tap, which takes in a closure. And this closure here, for now, it will be some sort of maybe view model that interacts with the bottom sheet, or we could just put the bottom sheet directly on or have some sort of toggle to toggle the bottom sheet. But for now, we just want to run our app and make sure it prints to the console, present bottom sheet, okay? So this is where we are aiming. So let's go ahead and run our app, because in the simulator for now, we won't print, but let's just go ahead and run. So Command R. Command R, run your application. And here, if we tap on this button, let me make this smaller. Let me clear the console. Get back to my simulator. So if I tap on this chevron, I will see present bottom sheet, okay? So this is basically the first goal of this first part of the video, is to get our header in place, get our bottom image in place, and be able to tap on the chevron to interact with it. So the next video, we will actually present the bottom sheet here, okay? And we will begin to refactor such that we have the ability to have any sort of image here. And again, it should be whatever we have in the header should be the same as what we have in the larger image. Okay. All right, thanks again for watching, and the next video should be upcoming very soon. Again, thanks for watching. Feel free to thumbs up or subscribe if you like the content. Leave comments below, so on and so forth. Again, thank you very much.